We are finally here. Olympic hockey is back. It's been 4 years for the women's team and obviously a lot longer for the men's team as far as NHL players at the Olympics. A lot has happened since the last women's hockey tournament at the Olympics. We have the PWHL. So this is just, it feels like a landmark Olympics for hockey in general. And we are here to ask 9 questions that we are going to find the answers out to in the next month or so. The women's tournament starts this week. The men's tournament starts the week after. It's an exciting time. It's Luca, it's Jesse, it's Pac here, and we are going to preview hockey at the Olympics. It feels great to be back.
This is why we play the game. Like, this is it. This is it. This is what we have been waiting for so long. We're so back. Can't remember there being a more anticipated hockey tournament in our lifetime. Like, honestly, the hype is real. I think Four Nations gave us like a really nice taste as to like,
it was an appetizer.
It was a really good appetizer. Like really, really, really good calamari.
I see what you did there. Appetizer.
Yeah, I don't like
little wordplay.
Yeah, it was a teaser too. And then the women's team or the women's tournament, I think it's like an intriguing time. Like you mentioned, the PWHL's here. The rivalry series was very one-sided, but Canada's also the reigning gold medalist. So like it's storylines galore. We're gonna break it all down. We got
Other countries maybe emerging too.
Yeah, we got 9 questions that we can't answer today, but we're looking forward to seeing what the answer is. Maybe we'll predict what those answers will be. Fired up.
Fired up indeed. Who wants to start with their first question?
I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off right away because this has been a hot topic. And it's always fitting when a certain thing happens and then those players maybe take a decision a certain way and instantly it looks like the Olympics haven't even started, but maybe this was already a bad decision. And I'm talking about the amount of firepower that the United States men's team are leaving at home. Cole Caulfield, 6-game goal streak going into Habs' recent game against the Avalanche. He's been one of the best goal scorers in the NHL this year. Jason Robertson, you can put him on that level too. Lane Hudson, near the top of the league in points by defensemen. Another guy, didn't make the roster. Adam Fox, another player that has put up points and points and points year after year. I know a lot of people pointed to a couple bad shifts at Four Nations. Not on the roster. This is a lot of dynamic, high-level talent that won't be in the red, white, and blue of the Americans come the Olympics. Will this come back to bite them? Did they make the wrong decision? A lot of people are criticizing them taking guys like Vincent Trocheck, JT Miller, who, yeah, they can kind of play that scrappy fourth line, hard to play against role, but they're struggling this season, and the Rangers have had a really, really tough season. I don't know. It's really tough to watch Cole Caulfield, Lane Hudson, and Jason Robertson, what they can do with the puck on their stick, the threat that they impose on the opposing team, and say they should not be playing with the best players in the world in Milano. I don't know. Like, I can easily see this game 3 of the tournament where the States have lost maybe to a dark horse team or maybe against a Finland or a Sweden. They're struggling to score, and it's just like, man, you picked the wrong team.
I don't know how. The problem with these tournaments is when does it show up, right? And when do you hit the panic button? Because they're the best team in net, so I imagine they probably won't have many struggles in the tournament early on, but all it takes is one game where you don't score, and we all remember Phil Kessel tweeting about how he was left at home. They needed some goals. They didn't get any, and I wonder if we do see flashbacks. I tend to think that the answer is going to be yes to that question, that they made the wrong decision, and they left a little too much firepower at home and instead wanted to just have guys that fit certain roles, which, again, I understand. It's part of team building. It's the hardest part of it, but I tend to think the answer is yes.
Are we also going to be saying the same thing about Team Canada a little bit? Like, obviously, I think Team Canada's main firepower is better than the United States, but I get it. And I think more so with the United States, like if you look at all the goals that they're leaving at home, but hey, Canada has some pretty good players at home too, man. Like, are we going to be saying the same thing about Canada if they're in a tight game and they're not getting depth scoring? I don't think it's as likely, but I don't know. I think both teams kind of had some head scratchers in terms of who they left at home. Maybe more so the United States, just because Canada's top talent. Like, they have the goal scorers that can kind of make up for it a little more. But not that the U.S. doesn't have good goal scorers, but I think Canada is a little
not
is a
to
little
say
better
that the
up
United
top.
States don't have that goal scoring already on their roster. Like, even a guy like Brock Nelson, who I think a lot of people kind of poked fun at during the Four Nations.
Sure.
Like, why is he on the team over some of these other guys? Like, he has just been scoring at an absurd rate as of late. They have a great lineup, top to bottom. They have those dynamic offensive defensemen, even with leaving Lane Hudson and Adam Fox at home. They still have Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy and Zach Werenski. Like, they have all these great players. So you're right. An even better follow-up question is, like, when does this show up? Because it's very possible that they still steamroll the competition in this tournament when they play against some of the weaker nations. But in a final against Canada or Sweden or maybe a team like Finland, it could very well be like, man, we're struggling for goals. And it's just like we left guys like Robertson and Caulfield or Lane Hudson at home. I don't know. We'll see. It's just something to monitor.
Who do you think should play with who, and has, since the roster announcement, since we kind of did our lines, let's say, have you had any other thoughts on maybe who should play with who, where you'd like to see some players now that you know the full roster? Because I look at it and I'm kind of like, how far down does Tage Thompson get buried in this lineup? Does he play at all? Like, I would play that guy, and I'd play him pretty high up in the lineup if you're looking for goals. Matthews has... I think there was a lot of criticism with him when we made like our roster projection video and where people were like putting him in the lineup, and he has done nothing but like score a ton of goals for the Leafs lately, despite how kind of bad they've been lately. But like, he's been really good.
Were people saying he should get buried in the comments?
I don't know if
A
people
lot of the popular topic with Matthews right now is like he should not be the captain.
Yeah, I think
that's like everyone's
I think that's a completely different. That's a different conversation.
That's for sure a different conversation. But I think some people looked at his beginning of the season and were like, how are you going to play this guy top line minutes as well? And I think maybe got the Jack Hughes treatment a little bit in that sense. But like, Boldy's been unbelievable. Yeah. Kyle Connor's been unbelievable. The Kachucks are an interesting one because obviously Matthew hasn't played a lot this year, and Brady is such a specific player. So like, yeah, I don't know what the roster lineup configuration should be. But for some reason, I really like, the only hot take I really have is like Tage Thompson should be playing with like some really good players, because he's just going to be, it could be that X factor that they're looking for if you want.
Give him some speedy wingers. Give him like Jack Hughes and Kyle Connor on the wings.
It's going to be a fun line.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see him with Matthews for some reason.
To me, the States is a lot less. I feel like we talked about this before when we projected the lineups. Canada is very easy to piece together. Okay, you know that your McDavids and your McKinnons and your Crosbys are going to be in the top six, and then you have those clear-cut bottom six players like your Sorellis. The States, you can just mix and match kind of any way you want with the amount of depth that they have. But I think we all agree Canada has that higher-end talent, and that's what
couple things
separates them.
And I know we discussed this before. And there's still, I think, like, is going to be like your top line that you lean on a little bit. I don't really feel like Brady Tkachuk needs to be on that first line. Like, I don't think he needs to play with Matthew. Like, I think everyone is like very like obsessed with that idea.
They just like it because it's fun. I think,
man,
it's like the brothers playing together.
Matt Boldy is gonna have a great tournament. Like, I would give that guy. That's the guy I'd stick on my top line and be like, go do your thing. I also think that Jake Gensel is a guy that just like no one's really talking about as much right now. That guy always shows up, man. He just shows up in big moments. So, but speaking of this and all the lines and stuff, and I think that this kind of leads me to my next question is, I'm kind of curious, who is going to be on Connor McDavid's line throughout the tournament, and is he gonna like actually have permanent line mates? Because I feel like at Four Nations, he obviously had a good tournament, but like we didn't really see anyone permanently click that well. Obviously, Marner was playing with McDavid, and he assisted that game-winning goal that he had. But I'm curious because there have been some interesting storylines this year. Mark Stone, is this guy going to be on Canada's top line? Like, he has been unbelievable this year, like firing on all cylinders. So I don't know. Do you stick a guy like Celebrini? I know a lot of people are talking about Celebrini playing with Crosby and McKinnon. Is Celebrini a guy who maybe plays on McDavid's wing as well? Is Marner going to play on that wing? I don't know. It's tough to say. And another thing that leads into a different conversation, if Braden Point is not able to go, because I think Braden Point is another guy that they tried with McDavid, right? Who makes sense as a logical replacement for him? And does it necessarily need to be the next best player up? Should it be someone like Sam Bennett, or should it be someone who maybe could have played a similar role that Point's going to play? Like maybe if Point was going to play with McDavid at the tournament, then does it make sense to maybe, call me crazy, like Zach Hyman might actually make the most sense to bring as the first guy up. I mean, this guy's having an incredible year. He knows how to play with McDavid better than anyone. And he's a guy to me that you can explore him on the first line, and if it doesn't necessarily work out and he's not adapting to the speed as well, you can kind of put him deeper in your lineup on your fourth line or just not play him. But to me, if you look at like an actual replacement for Point who could be playing with McDavid, I think Hyman makes a lot of sense.
So I just wonder though, if who's not playing out of this forward group, I guess is where you have to start. Because if you're talking about replacements, like those are the two first guys that they're going to look to actually move into the lineup. But I like your point about Hyman specifically, because if you're like, okay, if that role was to be filled by Point, who can you have that won't take any time at all to get used to playing with McDavid? And that's Zach Hyman. So I think that's a really smart replacement option for them if they're looking for it. I just wonder if it's too much as far as like, okay, not only is he just going to be added as a replacement for Point, but like he's also going to jump the two extra forwards that are on this team and get the first shot at playing. I don't know how that works, and obviously like those are more questions that we need answered. But it's a very smart, I think, replacement option, because I think a lot of people will probably look at Bedard now that he's back and just be like, yeah, just bring Bedard, bring that offensive guy, have him waiting in the wings just in case you need him. He looks great since coming back from injury. That goal he scored last night against, it was just disgusting. Yeah. Like how many people on earth can do that? You want that at the tournament, obviously. But then it's a whole different thing of not just being the replacement, but actually getting into the lineup. Who do you guys want to see McDavid play with? Like, what are your top two lines if you're going to project them out? Do we just run it back with Crosby, McKinnon, and Reinhart as the top line?
I would put Celebrini with them because he has that experience playing with them at the World Championships. I would at least try that, and I feel like
Reinhart played with them at Four Nations.
Yeah.
I think what you value more, I guess.
I think Celebrini, call me nuts, but like, I think with the way Stone's playing right now, like if you stick Celebrini, McDavid, and Stone on a line together, I think that is a very, very interesting line. You can obviously think of like considering putting Marner on that line instead of Stone.
Man, Stone might be at the far blue line when McDavid's already in the slot on a
Say what you want, man. Stone has been incredible.
He's really good.
You know what? And I
foot speed be damned.
Yeah. So I grew up in Winnipeg, like playing in the same system that. Obviously not nearly as good, but growing up, you talk to anyone in Winnipeg, the one knock on Mark Stone was always his foot speed. People didn't think that he was going to make it, said this guy's slow, not a good skater. You know what? Hasn't really stopped him from doing anything.
Career.
A phenomenal career, and specifically this season.
Yeah.
Like he's been like we're talking about him maybe being in the hard conversation right now with how good he has been. So I'm just saying, like, I know that like the game's gonna be so quick with the Olympics, and like you want speed,
no,
but like
he can hang. It's not like he can't hang.
He can hang with the best. He can hang with the best of them, and I just think that like this guy has at least earned with the way he's playing. I don't know, like you even look at like the way Stone and Marner have both been on Vegas this year, and obviously like you got to think about who clicks better with McDavid, but like Stone has been the guy for Vegas this year.
His emergence has definitely been the most interesting part of the line combinations for Canada, because I think before, I guess, the roster was officially made official, like it was easy to pencil Marner and McDavid together on that top six, and then you probably want Celebrini in your top six, right? Like you don't want him playing on the third line, and it's a lot easier to be like, Mark Stone, play the third line. We know what we're going to get from you. You're responsible, one of the best defensive players in the world, and also you can score. So like, hell yeah, that who wouldn't want that on their third line? Where Celebrini, you're kind of like, let's get him playing with the big guys, at least at the start, and then if it doesn't work out, maybe you put him down in the lineup. Now with Stone being so good offensively, I think it does bring up that question of like who is not playing in that top six, and it's a little harder to figure out.
I kind of like the idea of Stone and McDavid, and I think it balances all your lines out, even like the types of players. Like, by no means is Stone Leon Draisaitl, but like McDavid does well with like a big, powerful player, and Stone.
Now, Leon's not like that fat. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And then if you move Marner with a guy like Suzuki, Marner is kind of like that twitchy winger that I think Suzuki is complemented really well with when he plays with Caulfield. So. It's interesting how
Twitchy.
Canada can. I think it's a good word to describe Marner's game.
I love it.
Yeah. I think he's probably less twitchy than Caulfield, honestly.
Yeah.
Caulfield is like, he's good.
Can't wait for Caulfield to tweet when the State's losing.
It's also interesting. Like, Marner is clearly going to play on the wing, but like he's been playing center this year, which is, I don't know.
They've asked him to do a lot, and he's been really good for Vegas as well. That is 2 of the 9 questions down. I guess I'll go to my next one here, and let's stick with we'll round out the men's tournament here, talking about. I know we have a couple of other questions maybe about it, but I'll get this one out of the way. What is Sweden going to look like, and how will they overcome these injuries? Because no team has kind of been hit harder by the injury bug. They've already replaced Jonas Brodin and Leo Carlsson, who were players that were going to play in their top 6 and top 4. And they replaced them with Hampus Lindholm and Marcus Johansson, who Johansson's going to be a replacement, and now you've got one of your extra forwards in for Sweden. But Leo Carlsson was having such an amazing season, and I think we were all really excited to see him on that stage. We remember what Lucas Raymond did at the Four Nations, and he was just another young player that Sweden could rely on. And you've also got Gabriel Landeskog, who is working his way back from injury. I think the timeline makes it seem like he's going to be able to play, but maybe he's not ready for the start of the tournament. Maybe that's another top 6, top 9 guy that you have to replace. So I think we were really excited about what Sweden could be. And do these injuries take that excitement down a notch? I'm also surprised they didn't replace Brodin with Edvinsson, truthfully, and bring him, because he's had such an incredible year. That was looked at as a snub when the roster came out, and now it's a double snub for him. I get maybe the youth of it, not fully trusting him, and like Lindholm's probably not going to play regardless, but I would have liked to see them bring him. I don't know what to make of it and how they overcome those injuries. It really does feel like those are 2 major impactful injuries. They're still super talented up front on the back end, but it just makes me feel less excited about their chances of actually kind of getting into the medal conversation when we're talking about gold and silver.
I was going to say, like, let's be honest, Sweden does have a very deep team, and like the forward group is very, very strong. I think where this specific injury almost feels like not a death blow, but really crushing is like Leo Carlsson was so good this year. We all had him as the top line center on this team when we projected their lines. Like, we can honestly be talking about their best player. Like, I don't think that's hyperbole to say that Leo Carlsson has been that good this year. And when you talk about a team like Sweden, historically, they're always solid defensively. They always can play you in these tight, low-scoring games. Sometimes what they've lacked is that true game breaker, and it was starting to feel like Leo Carlsson can be that guy. I'm not saying that they don't have other players that can step up and be that alpha that can take over a game and score you a big goal. Adrian Kempe was so good in the Four Nations. Obviously, William Nylander, he's been battling
injuries
right now
too,
but
which is another question with this
he has
team.
that top-end skill, but Carlsson in particular is this like young budding star who really was the face of this emerging Ducks roster to begin the NHL season and was keeping up with Bedard and Celebrini in the points race.
He was healthy. He was top 10 in points.
He also
it's huge. It's a huge blow.
He also he helps unlock the other players on the team as well. It just makes the players around him better. And I think one guy, it's like Nylander's hurt. What Nylander was like not very, which is kind of weird. He wasn't very impressive at Four Nations from what I recall. So I don't know. I feel like
a Leaf not being impressive in a big game.
Here we go.
Your words, not mine.
Here we go.
But yeah, it is a huge blow. But I think, like, again, if Sweden's gonna win, they're gonna have to just lean on their blue line and good goaltending. That's probably how they're gonna have to win a lot of their games, as you said, like in these lower scoring games. Their blue line is still incredible. You look at the talent there, like Dahlin, Hedman, Carlsson. they're just so stacked. I mean, losing Brodin kind of sucks, but I don't know. I feel bad. I feel bad for Sweden. Like it sucks. You obviously want to see teams putting their best rosters out, and like it kind of feels it's like, okay, like these guys don't have all these studs. It's not to make excuses, but like if they don't win, it's like you understand. Okay, like they just didn't have the best team that they could have put out.
And they're also like the guys that are on the roster, like Hedman is making his return in the Stadium Series. Like he hasn't played a lot of hockey this year, and he's got a lot of miles on him. And how is he going to hold up in this best on best? I'm sure he's going to be fine, but it's just another player. And you mentioned Nylander. He's still watching from the press box right now. Landeskog. It's these guys that
watching from the press box.
He's doing some stuff from eating cookies and thank you cards.
That guy is doing everything under the sun in the press box.
Keep him in the press box all year just for the entertainment. I'm sure the Leafs don't want that right now, how they're playing. But you want to come into this fully healthy and not have so many health concern questions, and it just takes the wind out of your sails a little for Sweden. I'm sure they're still going to be a really good team, and Four Nations, they're probably the forgotten team of that tournament. They played really well. They were solid and just, I mean, lost in overtime a couple times, and what are you going to do? But I think they're still going to have a really good tournament. Will they win, though, or how far do they go? These injuries could be kind of a key deciding factor.
I think they're like, it sounds weird to say, they're kind of like an underdog in the tournament with all these injuries.
I would agree with that.
Which is a weird thing to think about, because usually I feel it's like Sweden has all this talent and then it doesn't really translate to too much on the international stage, but we'll see. I think they'll be fun to watch.
We got 6 more questions to go here.
And I think that's the perfect segue into my next question, because you mentioned the word underdogs, and I want to head over to the women's side of the tournament. Canada, obviously the defending gold medalists, they won in 2022. And not to say that this has always been a two-horse race, but we know the rivalry that Canada has with the United States, particularly on the women's side. Always the tightest battles. So many great moments. Haley Wickenheiser clip of her talking about them bringing in their flag and then wanting them to sign it. I'm not sure if the quiz is out yet, but there's a great question about that in an upcoming BarDown quiz that I feel like everyone's going to be excited about. But regardless, recently at the rivalry series, Canada was, I feel like, dominated is almost a fair word to say in terms of how they stacked up against the United States. It did not go well at all. And I think a lot of people now heading into the Olympics are viewing Canada as the clear underdog, that it would almost be a surprise if they dethroned the United States, which I think is a little bit crazy. And I'd like to hear some recent players from the Canadian women's team have come out and said, like, I feel like you guys are pushing too heavily this underdog narrative. Like, at the end of the day, we're still Canada. We still are the defending gold champions. I don't know. I think it's a lot tighter than people are making it out to be, and I think there's far too much stock being put into the results of that one-sided rivalry series.
And I think an important thing to mention about that rivalry series, too, is Canada was playing a lot of different players to get them international experience, and so they weren't playing their Olympic roster every night. And I'm not saying they weren't trying to win. I'm saying that the lineup is going to look very different than what it looks like for the Olympics. And so just if you are taking stock into that rivalry series, that's one of the things that was talked about going in. You've got the best goaltender in the world in Anne-Renee Desbiens. She's been the best goalie in the PWHL by far this year. So there's kind of a confidence thing that, like, you can lean on her. I'm sure she's not going to allow 10 goals in a game or 4 goals or 6 goals like they were losing in the rivalry series to the States. Like, that is more of a, if you want to put stock into something, I'm going to put stock into what I have in Anne-Renee Desbiens and what I've seen from her year in, year out on an international stage, rather than a 4-game rivalry series mixed in with the PWHL season with different players playing around her. Give me Anne-Renee Desbiens for the Olympics. I'll take it every day.
What a great, like, what an unbelievable tournament this is going to be, I think, for women's hockey. Like, women's hockey is at it's like at an all-time high rate, like just with the PWHL, and this is the first Olympics since the PWHL has been launched, right? And what a great way this is going to be for just hockey fans around the world to dive more into, I think the PWHL after this. I think this is going to be a special tournament. And one thing we talked about earlier is how it kind of feels like, sure, it's always felt like a 2-horse race between Canada and the U.S., but Luke and I were in Calgary this past summer, got to speak to some members of the team, and guys, is there any chance that Czechia is going to medal here?
They could.
Or not, sorry, not just medal, like go to the gold medal game. That's what I was going to say.
So for context, since the women's hockey tournament has been a thing at the Olympics, the only other team that's made the gold medal game other than Canada and the States was Sweden when they made it to the gold medal game and lost to Canada in Turin. So no other team, no other nation other than Canada and the U.S. has ever made it to the gold medal game. And the team you're going to bring up has never played in a bronze medal game. They've never finished higher than 4th at the Women's Olympics. So you can bring up the team now.
It's Czechia.
It's Czechia.
They were like, oh, they all said Czechia's got a good team. Gotta look out for Czechia. Gotta look out for Czechia. And I'm pretty sure they have 2 bronze at the Worlds since 2022. They have the first overall pick from last year's draft in Kristina Kaltenkova. Okay, she's having a great year, actually. Pretty crazy stat line, 11 goals and 1 assist in 16 games.
Incredible.
Completely baller.
Incredible.
And the cool thing too about, I mean, I guess we've seen it in past Olympics, but there are going to be some college players playing in this year's tournament as well. Like, I believe they have a couple players that play in the NCAA that's going to be on their team this year. Mm-hmm. And from everything I'm seeing, and forgive me because truthfully, like I don't watch the Czechia women's team too much, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching them in action this year because there's a lot of hype around this team. And we all have always heard about Canada and the U.S. I am curious to see if Czechia can pull off an upset and get to that gold medal game. I think Czechia is going to play Canada pretty hard just from everything I'm seeing here and hearing from Team Canada.
Well, you mentioned it, the World Hockey Championship success for them since 2022. 2022 bronze, 2023 bronze, and then 4th place finishes in 2024 and 2025. So they're right there. It's not that... I guess it's more of a question of, do they play for gold or do they play for bronze? Because there's a very real chance that this team is the best they've ever looked, and we could see them maybe pull off an upset here. Could be interesting. My women's hockey question is kind of off of yours, and maybe we can talk more about, like, do you actually think Canada's an underdog, or do you think the States are the favorites? Because it's really the youth versus experience, and the States are bringing the youth. And whether it's a question of have they developed these players better than Canada has? Has Canada been too reliant on the stars that they currently have and not giving their youth more of a chance? I don't know the answer to that question. I think when you have all the players that Canada does and you look up and down the roster, it's tough to argue that any of those players should be left at home or left out of the lineup for someone else. But for the States, they have so many impact players that are still in college right now. 5 players from the University of Wisconsin alone on this roster. Wow. Caroline Harvey, Lacey Eden, Layla Edwards are the 3 that are the headliners of them. And they've been playing in world championships for the States for years already. It's not like they are new to this stage. Abby Murphy, who's on the podcast as well, had that highlight reel assist. She is arguably the best player in college hockey right now, is on the team. And then they have 2 Ohio State Buckeyes as well. So they have a ton of college players. That is 8 total players from college hockey on this team, and Canada doesn't have a single player from college hockey on this team. So it really is the youth and experience, and it's not just they're bringing these players as extras. These are impact players. Layla Edwards specifically, Caroline Harvey, Lacey Eden, and Abby Murphy have all played massive roles in their teams. Abby Murphy was playing on the Olympic team in 2022. Like, she has Olympic experience already. Mm-hmm. She's going to be a top pick in the PWHL draft when she's there. Caroline Harvey is, Layla Edwards is, Lacey Eden is. So I wonder, is Canada's roster rightfully so viewed as the underdogs? Because not only does the States have the impact players playing in the PWHL right now, they're bringing obviously the Hannah Bilkas and the Hillary Knights and the Megan Kellers, but they also have the mix of youth that isn't even there yet, but they have played on this stage. They've won in big games. They've won World Hockey Championships. They've been in this rivalry, whereas Canada is relying on a lot of the same pieces to get the job done. And I don't know which approach is right. We're going to find out because I think this is probably the closest that these rosters have been in a long time. And every year it's them two fighting for gold. So I don't know the answer to it. The USA hockey program for the women's side, when this is Hillary Knight's last Olympics, like, they're passing the torch to superstars already, where Canada, you go back a couple years when Serdachny scored the winner in the World Hockey Championship. She's not on the roster this year. That was someone that was picked highly in the PWHL draft that you were like, okay, this is the next wave. This is like one of the big faces of the next wave of Canadian women's hockey, and she isn't on the team this year. And I think that surprised a lot of people. There were maybe some younger players still in college that they could have looked at and didn't bring. And it makes you wonder about the future. And I'm sure the future is completely, totally bright for this team and this program. But it seems like the future is already here for the States, and it's not for Canada yet. And I wonder if this year is the first year where we're going to see, okay, USA wins gold, and this is kind of part of their domination of women's hockey, because these players are all here now, and Canada's development program has to catch up a little bit in that sense. I don't know.
It's time to bring in the young guns.
I don't know.
For sure. Also, that Wisconsin team is stacked.
Oh, it's unbelievable, man. That team is so good.
And just to add to Czechia,
they have a player on that Wisconsin team.
Adela Sapuvalivova.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Incredible.
Thank you. 9 goals and 17 assists in 24 games, and she's like the middle of the team in terms of scoring. So
yeah, that Wisconsin team is stacked. And if you want to like just talk one more rivalry series stats, the players that led the tournament, or that series rather, in points: Taylor Heisey with 9, Abby Murphy with 8, Hillary Knight with 7, Layla Edwards with 6. So you're talking about 3 young superstars for the United States. And Canada has their own, like Sarah Fillier, Sophie Jake. Like, they're both young players that are really, really talented, really, really good. But it just seems like the pendulum might be swinging a little. Once the games start, though, that's kind of when it matters most.
That's why we play the games.
That's why we play the games. We've got 3 questions left. Pac, let's go to you for your final one.
I think something that's fun about the Olympics every year, and I think something that the 4 nations lacked is, well, one, there were only 4 teams, but it's the fact that there's other hockey nations involved. And I think even when you look back to the World Cup of Hockey, which is still more recent, as far away as that feels, that's still more recent than the last time we saw NHL players playing at the Olympics on the men's level. Team Europe, it was kind of fun, but it also felt a little bit silly at the same time. And it's like, we want to see the guys from Slovakia representing Slovakia, and the guys from Czechia representing Czechia. And Germany's been this huge emerging nation. And even if we look back to the 2014 Olympics, Latvia gave Canada such a great game in that 2-1 game that everyone remembers. One of my favorite parts of the Olympics is seeing these smaller hockey nations really capture a storyline. And I think my question is, who is it going to be this year? Who is going to be that dark horse that can beat Canada or the States or Sweden, or can at least give them a very, very thrilling game, and maybe they can get to a bronze medal game and create this big storyline where a smaller country that maybe hockey isn't the biggest thing in the world, we have something to be proud of if you're from there. And I look at Germany with the amount of top-end talent that they've had at the NHL draft in the last 5 years. I look at Czechia just because, David Pastrnak is there, and they have just a ton of really good players that have had great NHL careers throughout the roster. And quite frankly, I look at a team like Slovakia where Juraj Slavkovsky, who has Olympic experience and has been so good.
At the Olympics,
he was the leading scorer.
7 goals in 7 games?
At what, 17 years old?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He's 21 now.
It's pretty good.
And he is even more physically dominant than he was then. So I'm excited to see how he plays in a role where he is like clearly the guy. And I just think that having these smaller hockey nations is going to be great, and I think we're really going to enjoy it. But my question is, who do you guys think that one dark horse team is going to be that can then go on a run? And I would exclude Finland from this, because I think they're too good.
I think it's the top 4 is Canada, the U.S., Sweden, and Finland.
They were quite literally one of the 4 nations.
They're excluded from this. If you're yelling at your screen right now that I didn't mention Finland, but yeah, who do you guys think it's going to be? Because I think there's always these great storylines from these younger teams. Didn't Slovenia? I know they're not in this Olympics, but didn't they have a nice storyline a couple years ago with Kopitar, and wasn't his dad the coach? Am I misremembering?
No,
that?
I think you're remembering correctly. I forget what the exact thing was, but I think you're right about that.
I think it's Germany, man. Like I don't know. They just they've got some really good top end talent on that team. Like we're talking Draisaitl, Stützle, Peterka with Seider. I mean that's a scary power play unit. And yeah, again, they have like good top end net talent. They have a dominant shutdown defenseman. They have capable enough goaltending. Like I don't know. I feel like if Germany plays Czechia, for example, I think that's a winnable game for Germany.
I would agree with that. So out of the defensemen they have, Seider's the only one playing in North America right now. But you do have an NHL goalie in Philip Grubauer. You've got, if you were to pick a couple NHLers that are left over outside of North America, like Draisaitl, Stützle, and Seider are a really good three to have on your team for a tournament like this.
Yeah.
Czechia is the one probably for me, just because I feel like Pasta has just been itching to play in an international competition. He got slighted for sure in Four Nations, and I'm excited to see what he does with that. But how good of a season Hurdle is having right now. You've got Natchez has been great. Palat just got traded, but he's another guy. They have more NHL talent on this team than Germany does, so I guess it's like kind of a cop-out as them being the surprise team. But I really do think that they can surprise some people.
I thought you were going to go with Italy. You know, Gregory Di Tommaso on the blue line, Ryerson alumni or TMU alumni. He was there when I was there.
Insane.
Tommaso Di Luca.
I interviewed him after the first period as a ringside reporter during a Rams live game. Hopefully we can pull up the footage of that if I still have it. But yeah.
Insane.
You want to know how many Lucas are on the team? So there's Tommaso Di Luca. There's Luca Frigo. There is... who else we got here? There's Luca Zanata and there's Gianluca Vallini. So
beautiful.
We got four Lucas
like I'm at
on the
St.
team.
Phillips in Woodbridge right now.
Insane. Oh, I just hope that they score a goal in the tournament. Someone scores for them.
Who scores more goals? The Italians at the Olympics or the Azzurri at the 2026 World Cup?
Honestly,
That's a good line.
The Italians at the Olympics, because there's
they're
a
gonna be
very real chance that Italy doesn't make the World Cup.
That is
It's a great line right there.
Great line.
It's a crazy. The fact that we're even debating that is mental, but you're not wrong about it.
Insane.
Last two questions here, Jess. What do you got?
So, honestly, I actually think this might be the biggest storyline of like the entire Olympic hockey.
Way to bury
at
the
least in
lead
the men's.
for your last question.
Well, I mean, I feel like we've discussed it, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's a huge story, and it's what is going to happen in Canada's crease. Like, I think Canada's goaltending is legitimately the biggest question mark in the entire tournament, because people are saying, okay, well, you know, Binnington has been brutal this year, but you have Logan Thompson. And Logan Thompson could theoretically be the guy. Even if Binnington does get the first charge, struggles, you just throw him in. Okay, well, we don't really know exactly what's happening, and hopefully it's okay, but Logan Thompson just got injured. So we don't know fully what's going on there. And now you're kind of like, okay, well, we got to start Binnington. And then Kemper would be the next guy up. Of course, if Thompson's injured. And then, you know, Binnington obviously hasn't been good this year, but maybe he would have gone the first start anyway and given the crease anyways because he's been there before. There's just a lot of questions because Canada has such a good team, but it's so clear that their one weakness, objectively, like looking out from an outside lens, it's got to be goaltending. And it's an area of weakness that the United States definitely does not have. Sweden doesn't have. You know, I don't think Finland. I think Finland probably feels pretty not bad about their goaltending either. But I don't know. I just think I'm just curious to see what the heck happens there. If Canada makes the gold medal game, who's going to be in the net for that game? I don't know.
So since the announcement that Jordan Binnington was on the team, he is 1-6. He's allowed 28 goals in 7 games.
Beautiful.
859 save percentage.
Oh, man.
2 penalty minutes to boot. The thing that's propping those numbers up is a shutout against Montreal, funny enough.
And
wear it.
He was phenomenal in that game.
Phenomenal. And that was coming off literally the day, the game after the announcement was against the Avalanche.
I'll show you.
And they lost 6-1, and I think the Avs scored like 4 goals in the first period on him. He has allowed, in those games, he has not, other than the shutout, hasn't allowed fewer than 3 goals in a game since the announcement. 6, 7, 5, and 4 one time each in those 7 games. I know the Blues are 6-7. Guys, it's not good. It's not good.
It's not good at all.
It's not.
And a bit of an issue right now, I would say, too, is like if Logan Thompson needs to be replaced, Blackwood and Wedgwood have not been great either recently for the Avs. And I know they're dealing with their own injuries. And I don't know, people are like, maybe the Avs are bored right now, which, you know what, the Olympic break couldn't be coming sooner for them as a team that just probably needs to regroup and refocus a little bit. But you've got one less option that you feel confident in if Logan Thompson can't go and you need to replace him. Is Darcy Kemper the guy that you're throwing it? Like, I don't
Sam
know.
Montembeau getting a call?
Montembeau.
Maybe. Like, I don't know.
No. Maybe from Laval.
Maybe from Laval.
No, honestly, like, who knows? And this, the thing is, and like, this is one thing that Armstrong did say, and maybe he's just trying to cover for his guy, but like, he was talking about how the Blues have just not been a good team this year in front of Binnington as well.
He did.
And
Way to bury your whole organization that it's like your primary job to like defend your goalie for picking him on Team Canada. You're like, yeah, the team that I
haven't done a good job.
Which is crazy,
Which is why my
way.
goalie hasn't been good.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, who knows? Binnington with a better team in front of him? Who knows?
It's funny because there are literally 2 complete opposite ends to look at this from. It's like, one, Binnington, and both these statements are 100% valid.
Yeah.
One, Binnington has been the worst, if not a bottom 3, bottom 5 goalie in the NHL this year. That's one end of the scale. The other end is, if Binnington is not in net for Canada in the 4 Nations, they lose that final game.
Just the final, though.
He was incredible
in the final.
So part of you is like, man, you can't go with this guy, and then the other part is he has earned the crease. He has been the best player for Canada on the biggest stage that they've had since 2014, 2016, whatever you consider the biggest stage, World Cup of Hockey, Olympics, whatever. He has been their guy, and I know it's like this weird era of when's the last time Canada didn't have a top 3 goalie in the NHL?
Yep.
Because they went from Brodeur to Luongo to Carey Price, and all throughout that, Marc-Andre Fleury was kind of like, man, I'm really good too, and never really got his shine as a starter. They've had so much talent. I don't know what to me. They've shown with their selection on this team how loyal they were to the 4 Nations.
Agreed.
The fact that they took the exact same. Well, like
in some cases.
Before we were talking about replacements for Braden Point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's out of the stretch. I think Hyman's a great show, but like they brought Bennett to 4 Nations.
Yeah.
They brought Jarvis to 4 Nations. I feel like those 2 are like their next 2 on the list of who they take.
I would agree with that.
I think Binnington is almost like in their eyes this no-brainer start of like we're gonna go with this guy.
100% he is, and like. I hate like the big game thing with him because it's like outside of that magical rookie run and the one game in the 4 Nations, because let's be honest, before that one game, it wasn't like he was spectacular for Canada.
Well, against Sweden in the first game, people were like, oh, Binnington, man, like let in some weak goals.
That's what I mean. Like it wasn't like he had the world on fire and lit it up in that tournament, but outside of like his rookie season and that, he's been a completely average NHL goalie.
So here's even one more question, because you brought this up when I talked about.
He's got that for
which is horrible. Like,
is Jordan Binnington a Hall of
decisions
Famer?
Off of no.
Okay,
not even close.
One more question, because you brought this up when I talked about the United States and them leaving Cole Caulfield and Robertson and Hudson and whoever at home.
100%.
And you said, we might not know the answer to this question until it's almost too late, because it's like, when is this test going to come?
I feel the same.
If Canada starts their tournament off and they're winning 7-1, 6-0, 3-0,
it's not going to matter.
And they're just in control.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they play a gold medal game against Sweden, or a semifinal against Finland, or the United States, or Czechia, whoever, a really strong team. All of a sudden they're in this game that's 6-5, and they're like, man, I wish we were tested earlier to see what we have in net.
So they will be tested right away with Czechia.
Yeah.
That's who they open the tournament against. And then they've got Switzerland, who's got NHL players, and they've got France.
They got that same Switzerland World Juniors coach.
They better bring him.
Fellas,
Andrew Ghetto.
At the end of the day, like, we can all say all of our points about Binnington, but it's going to be one man who makes the decision. I think it's just going to be John Cooper kind of going with his gut. And it's like, what a decision that guy has to make. Like, oh my goodness.
100%.
He'll have some advisory from his assistants. Ryan Getzlav will pitch in as well.
With that
friend of the show.
He knows the goaltender. You're right though. I think it really is going to be like that one game that comes. Is he good or is he bad? Because we're not like France and Switzerland. If he plays bad in those games, that you've got a whole other problem on your own. But you're expecting him to play pretty solid in those games if you're Canada. Yeah. So it's an interesting one. My last question is a fun one because I didn't realize this until I looked it up. But will Canada finally have, since NHLers have been coming to this tournament, a player that leads the tournament in points? Something they've never had. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that they've never had a player that has led the tournament in points. And let's just go back. So 98 is when we're going back to. Teemu Selanne and Saku Koivu led the tournament with 10 points each. 2002, Matt Sundin led with 9 points in 4 games. 2006, it was Selanne and Koivu again with 11 each. 2010, we've got Pavel Demitra with 10.
Wow.
Hossa with 9 is in second. 2014, Phil Kessel and Erik Karlsson with 8 each. And then obviously 2018, Nikita Gusev for the ROC, and last Olympics, Juraj Slavkovsky and Sakari Mananainen for Finland, 7 points each. Actually, Adam Tambellini technically tied with 7, but he doesn't count in the era that I'm talking about as far as NHL players being at the Olympics. So they've got the players to do it, obviously, with McDavid and the McKinnons of the world. Just doesn't seem like Canada beats up on other teams.
And when they do, they get scoring up and down the lineup. I don't think they're going to do it again this year. If you were to ask me right now who leads the Olympics in scoring, I would pick David Pastrnak.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think because those teams, their scoring comes from
the top
line.
Yeah.
And I think Czechia will be in games where they win, and they score goals, and Pastrnak is like clearly the guy there. He would be my pick.
I like it. If I had to pick someone, I'm just going to pick McDavid because I just feel like this is going to be the tournament that he does it. But
I think if Canada wins a game 7-0, they'll get 7 different goal scorers, and every single player will have a point, and they're leading. The guys with multi-points will be like Travis Sanheim gets 2 assists.
Good point.
You're not wrong.
Draisaitl, maybe?
You're not
low
wrong.
Key.
Yeah.
Draisaitl could.
Yeah.
Draisaitl could.
They just have to score the goals.
Maybe Greg DiTomaso.
Yeah.
He gets in there.
Maybe after one game, depending on who they open up against Italy.
One of the 4 Lucas.
One of the 4 Lucas. That's another good line. Do the 4 Lucas have more combined points than
the max of Canada? McDavid, Macklin, and McKinnon.
No. I was just gonna pick one player from any other nation. Like does Cider have more points than all 4 Lucas for Team Italy? Probably easily. Those are our 9 questions. I'm not done yet though. I'm not done.
Oh, there's more.
Wow.
I want to give since we had this little bonus hidden thing in the
I want to give one shout out because hockey is not just men's and women's. We've got the para team as well.
Yes.
They have not won gold in 20 years. Turin was the last time they won gold, so they are hoping to end that drought. They've been in the gold medal game the last 2 Olympics, 2-1 overtime loss in 2018 to the States, and then 5-0 in Beijing to the States. So going to be watching that team to hopefully see if they can end this drought, and we're all cheering for them. And we want to cover all of these tournaments as the Olympics are happening as well. So we don't want to just talk about the men's team. We want to talk about the women's games, and we want to talk about the pair team as well, because all hockey is hockey that we want to support, and we're wishing all of our Canadian athletes the best of luck in these tournaments.
Yeah, and shout out Rob Armstrong, friend of the program, good buddies with Eric, plays for Team Canada's men's para team, and yeah, I've had the pleasure of meeting him too. He's a beauty. So let's go, fellas. What a time.
Can't wait. Shout out to their captain as well, Tyler McGregor, and Dom Cozzolino.
Ooh.
Gotta get my Italian.
Oh, how many
there.
Italians are in this tournament?
He's going to be right at home.
It's unbelievable.
He's going to be right at home. I'm excited for that. And then the one other thing we need to do, and this is just mainly for Pac.
Oh, boy.
Montreal fans hated us when we were talking about our top 12 teams in the NHL because we did not talk about them. So, Pac, I have 3 questions for you about the Montreal Canadiens.
To see if I'm a real fan?
No, not to see if you're a real fan. To
okay.
give Habs fans some love here and talk about the Habs.
I just want to say one thing first. I was going to come to today's podcast wearing a Habs jersey and holding up. I have a Montreal Canadiens foam finger that I got from the Bell Center when I was 6 years old, the first time I ever went there. And I was going to hold it like this for the entire show. But because today was an Olympic episode and it wasn't NHL centric, I didn't want to do it.
You should have.
I'll do it in the future.
Give some love to Caulfield.
I think people that are calling me a fake Habs fan is a joke. My family has a brick at the Bell Center for the 100th year.
Oh my God!
You can go
You're
find
like the Green
it.
Bay Packers.
You go find it if you want to. And
you've got part
sorry,
ownership.
I'm not being a homer, but I think the Habs are obviously really good, and I'll talk about them more. I'll be biased if you guys want me to be biased.
So here are your 3 questions that I've got for you. Bigger snub, Caulfield or Lane Hudson?
Oh man, Caulfield because they already have Quinn Hughes and they already have Werenski. Like I almost get the Hudson one more. I'm gonna say Caulfield.
Okay. Since that podcast, I feel like the Habs have been on a heater. So
they're always on a heater.
Where do you rank them right now as far as your top 12 goes? Has it changed since our last podcast? They literally just destroyed the Avs 7-3 at the time of this recording. That was last night. I
would rank them where I think I had them 9th in the top 12 video. I think I'll move them up to 7th. I just still it's hard to trust them with their goaltending situation, and they're still a young team that doesn't have a ton of experience. I think this is a fair, level-headed take. They're getting healthier. Newhook will be back soon. He's been skating on the ice. Patrick Laine adds an interesting component to the team.
Texie has been awesome.
Texie has been great, but it's when all these guys come back, who do you scratch? And that's been my main question. A lot of people are kind of linking them to guys like Kadri or Blake Coleman at the deadline. It would be great to get that depth, but again, there's only 12 forward spots, and they're already facing this issue.
And Haig might come back.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to know already.
So, to me, if there's one move they got to make, and I don't think this is an in-season move, it's addressing the goaltending situation. I know I joked about Montembeault earlier. I have not given up on him. I think he can still find some steadiness in the crease, and I love what Dobish has brought, but he's not an every night starter. He's 23, 24 years old. I think 7th is fair.
I think that's a level-headed take. I think that's an unbiased take as well, because I think you could put them higher in the arguments there. Okay, my final question about the Habs. How many goals is Nick Suzuki scoring
in this
the
tournament?
Olympics? Give me a number.
I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
I don't think he's being brought there to be relied on as this top goal scorer, but I think he still flashes and he scored a shorthanded goal last night.
Yeah, he can do that.
He's gonna find those spots. He has too much skill. He's too much poise with the puck. He's gonna find a way to chip in offensively. But I think they've just brought him because he's such a great all-around player.
I got one more question for you guys.
All right.
Who wins a Stanley Cup first? Sorry, which team brings the cup back to Canada first? The Montreal Canadiens or the Edmonton Oilers?
Ooh,
I think the Habs are going to win a cup soon.
I think the Habs have a better shot at winning a cup sooner for some reason. I don't know why.
I'll still pick this year, and I think this is the 3rd or 4th year in a row I've said this.
Yeah, you're picking the Oilers.
When we do, spoiler alert to everyone who watches our playoff
picking the Oilers to win the cup.
I'm going to pick the Oilers to win the cup. I'm going to do it.
It's so funny that they're tied for first in the Pacific. Just
it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, and your answer is still the Canadiens because
no, I said the Oilers. I'm picking the cup this year.
I still feel like I would feel better as a Habs fan right now because your future is just so bright.
It's almost there's less pressure.
Well, yeah, there's the sand clock thing or what time?
The hourglass.
What's it called?
The sand clock. That was wild.
The hourglass is being flipped, and the sand is coming down, and it's
and the clock is the clock is sand
ticking, and by ticking I mean it's oozing sand.
The hands on the clock are just filled with seashells, and there's just waves crashing into the clock. And it's just the sandiness.
No, but seriously, you feel probably better as a Habs fan than you do as an Oilers fan now because you know that if you don't get it done this year or next year,
it's over.
It's done. This is your window.
These guys are calling it. It's Mick over.
It's Mick. Mick over.
Oh, that's good.
Incredible.
That is good. Okay. I guess final one now before we.
I have one shout out too before we finish.
Okay, give your shout out.
Longest
Well, I'll do
podcast.
that. I'll do it at the end. I'll do the shout out at the
Okay,
end.
well, we gotta give predictions. Men's, women's, para tournaments here. Who are we taking? Give me the final and give me who's winning gold. Let's start with the men's.
Gold for Canada.
Who are they facing?
The States.
Okay.
Gold.
I'm the same.
Canada, USA. Canada wins
Inject
gold.
that in our veins.
I'm going Canada, Sweden. I don't think the US gets it
Ooh.
done, and Canada wins gold. Women's.
Gold for Canada, and they take down the States again.
I hate to say it, but I think
going US?
I think the US is going to win.
Over
Yeah.
Canada?
Yeah, over Canada.
I'm going to go Canada until I see the US knock them off, because as much as I talked about the youth and experience, I still give me MPP and Andrei Debian all day.
Don't count out Czechia though.
Don't count out Czechia either. And then the para, I mean, this is obviously we're not kind of familiar with all of the nations for para and the historic success of other nations, but give me Canada.
That's
man.
why my
Give me
answer is
Canada.
Canada.
Let's
Let's
give
go.
Canada
In
over
our
the
veins.
US.
In
Like
our
give
veins.
us Canada to win it, and I'm excited to watch that sport and just be entrenched in cheering and learning about it more, because it's an incredible sport and all the athletes that play it are incredible. So the Olympics is the best for stories. We're gonna get a ton of stories. Pac has one more shout out apparently, so give us your last shout
I
out.
think in recent months, this group has come under a lot of heavy scrutiny. And I just think we can take a little bit of a moment to put our hands together and give a great shout out to the great workers of Milano and Cortina for putting together that rink and really delivering us a great Olympic experience. That rink, there was a time I didn't think it was going to get done. I thought they were going to
Is it
redo the
done?
floor.
What evidence
You're
do you-
speaking too soon.
I'll
man.
be
What
honest,
evidence do
I'll
you
be
have of
honest.
it being done?
I got no idea if it's
I
done.
thought I saw
my
somewhere
God.
that there were supposed to be like 14 or 15,000 seats, and there's only going to be 11,800.
I read they're painting. They were painting the lines on the ice or something. I don't know. You know what?
Wow,
Shout out.
real progress.
Shout
They're
out to the
painting-
workers for getting that done. You
So,
know
are
what?
you sure that wasn't the Stadium Series game
So-
that you saw that?
Probably.
So
It
no,
It was.
so
I know the
here
exact video you're
here's the
talking about.
tweet you're talking about, and it's from Chris Johnston saying 1 week from the start of the Milan Olympic women's hockey tournament, there are encouraging reports coming out of Santa Giulia Arena. Big progress in construction since the test events earlier this month. Logos and other markings now painted on
See?
the ice. Feels like they should have had logos and markings painted a while ago, but Italy versus France on February 5th is the first of 33 games scheduled for the venue during the Olympics. So I guess a shout out is warranted in some way.
By the way,
there's no video evidence of all this, by the way. This is just a tweet.
And there's no video evidence of what Luca did behind his laptop when he said Santa Giulia. He did give one of these.
I did give one of these. I did
You
give
just
one of
can't
these.
see it on the camera.
Oh my god. Hey, we're here. The Olympics
here.
are here. We can't wait to be along the ride with you all throughout the tournament. We're obviously going to do a bunch of stuff, and it's going to be fun. So
It's gonna be epic.
leave us your predictions in the comments. Leave us your questions, and
And shout out to the construction workers.